Morning guys, so today I thought for a little change of theme I'm going to show you the sewing project I did that I showed you briefly before, which is my Chanel ribbon dog lead. So this is the lead that I made. I would say you need a minimum of 2 meters of ribbon to make the lead. I've done quite a short one because I like to keep Thumbelina on quite a short lead in the city so that she's under control and not near traffic. The one I've chosen is quite thick and webbed, so I didn't need to back it onto an additional webbing. If you're using a thinner ribbon or if you're using 2 bands of thin ribbon joined together, then you might want to back it onto a webbing to make it stronger. Also, if you have a bigger dog that might pull harder. Obviously, my dog's quite small and can't pull that hard, so I was able to use hand stitching and I was able to not use webbing. But I really would advise using webbing and a sewing machine if you've got a big dog that might pull harder. So to begin with, I doubled the ribbon over, so you can see that's just doubled over at this end, and it's doubled over all the way down so that I've got ribbon on both sides. And I stitched inside here, there you can see very tightly and strongly all along the edge so that it would be a really strong join of zigzag stitches inside the D-ring where the only joint is in the ribbon, because I wanted that to be really strong so that she can't pull open the stitching here. So do that if you have a sewing machine, do that on a really nice tight zigzag if you can, or by hand and double over it because you want to make it really nice and strong at the join. To make sure that you put the D-rings inside the loop before you join that together so that you are able to then move the D-rings into place. I've added one at the handle here because it's quite useful for adding your poo bags too, or your keys when you're walking. I just find it quite useful to have a D-ring on the top there. So you don't have to have one, but it's just a nice kind of touch. So then what I did was stitch all along the edge, all the way down, holding the D-ring in, and all the way back down this way. I've also done 2 horizontal lines of stitching either side of the bar of the D-ring to hold it in place and kind of finish the lead off nicely there. And I've done the same thing nice and tight along the edge here so that it holds the D-ring in place as well. If you're like me, you keep all your designer ribbon with purchases and you find it really hard to throw them away, so you've got a bag full of them in the corner and you don't really know what to do, this is a great reuse of them. So even if you've got thin ribbon left over like you get on Fendi or Louis Vuitton purchases, you can double them up because quite often you have a long length of that, so you can afford to double it up and stitch it down onto some webbing to make it a little bit stronger, and use that if you need a wider lead. If you've got a really small dog like a Pomeranian or a Chihuahua, you can probably get away with using single width and just making sure you stitch it well, and that should be strong enough for a small dog. Another really nice use of designer ribbon is you can make your own dummy attachment or pacifier attachment for your baby. You just need to get the clips from Amazon and then you stitch it on a loop around the dummy so that you're able to use it as a tie for the dummy so they don't lose it when you're out and about. In isolation, you've had a really great Marie Kondo moment and got rid of all of your designer ribbon and now wondering why you did that. Don't worry, on Etsy you can buy loads of different kinds of nice webbing and also other secondhand designer ribbons, so I'll add a swipe up to that next. I think sewing projects are a great way to stay entertained in the evenings during isolation rather than just watching endless television. It's quite nice to do something that you have something to show for it at the end, and you can definitely do that sewing project in one evening. Just put a movie on in the background or have some music on and get stitching, and it's a really nice way to spend the evening after dinner. Picking some more wild garlic for lunch today. The flowers are all in bloom now.